Hey YouTube. Alright, this is a previously inked sketch of Harley Quinn. I did it a while ago and somebody asked me to color it for them, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be using Copic markers today. You can see I'm probably only going to be using these. You can pause it so you can see the colors. Not my full collection, but this is the stuff. These are the colors that I use most often. I have a whole bunch more colors on my desk that I don't really use that much. And I have a bunch of duplicates as well, brand new duplicates. I bought a huge bulk lot of markers to get them for a good price, and they went ahead and lowered the price for me, but there's a bunch of duplicates, same colors, so I'm trying to get rid of those. I'm selling those for $3 a piece, singles, but if you buy a bulk, I'll go as low as $2 just to get rid of them. I just want to get my money back. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and here we go. Usually start with the lightest colors first, because you can cover up, if you go outside the lines, you can cover up with the dark colors. So I mean, as far as the lightest, as far as the overall, but when it comes to laying down the colors, I usually go dark first. I know it sounds confusing, but basically the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go skins, because that's the lightest color, so if I go outside the lines I can cover up with the darker colors. And then I'll probably do red and then black. This white part, I usually leave. I mean, it doesn't really matter if I shade it first or last, because if I get anything in there, it's pretty much screwed. I'll have to figure out a way to fix it. But when I'm getting ready to lay in the colors, I'm going to go ahead and, as far as the face is concerned, I'm going to go in with the dark colors and then go lighter from there, because then I can blend out with the Copics, I can blend out the darks, so it's not such a hard line. And then I go back in and do my shadows. So you'll see what I mean, I'm sure. Oh, and this piece is for that EDM Disney chick. So I hope you like it. Hope it turns out okay. So yeah, I already went outside the lines. Screwed that up. Now I know I've talked about in the past how I don't ever use a blender, and that is true. The only time I will use a blender is if I slightly go outside the lines. Like, I'm probably going to cover that up anyway with something, but because I'll do like a little border. But yeah, a blender, if you use the blender, you can kind of push that back in and it'll lighten it up a lot. Like I said, I don't really care, because I'll fix it. I tend to work pretty fast, so I'm not too concerned with all the mistakes. And as far as colors, how I choose my colors, doesn't really matter. It's kind of all relative. You can make, I've seen people make the colors work with whatever they have. It doesn't really matter. It's just the key being have at least 2 tones per color. So like the skin tones, I have 3. I didn't really need 3 because it's such a small area, but I'm used to using 3. For the hair, I'll do the same thing, so on and so forth. For the smaller the area, the less tones you need, because there's not going to be as many highlights. You just have to be careful. But yeah, so now I'll probably go in and do the hair. Let's see, I'm missing one color. Golden yellow. Alright. And for blonde hair, I kind of missed a spot here. For blonde hair, I always, for the base tones, I always use like a light brown. Not the base tone, but for the shadows. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I draw a lot of Harley Quinn. It's my most requested commission, and it's just fun to draw. And because I've drawn her so many times, it's easy, you know. Kind of know the costume and so on and so forth. Not all the costumes, because there's so many, but well, there's not that many. But every once in a while, someone will request a very specific style of costume, and I'll never have seen it before. But yeah, I like to do the maskless Harley a lot. I don't know why. It's just me. And I typically don't like to do a lot of these live, you know, same speed. I like to do everything sped up. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this as is or if I'm going to fast forward it. Just not sure yet. When I watch videos, I get impatient, and I just want to kind of see the progress. I want to see where it started. I like to see the initial sketch and then the finished sketch, and all the crap in between. I can kind of figure out how to get there or how they got there, but it's cool to see the sketch. Unfortunately, I did this sketch a long time ago, and I just had it sitting in my portfolios that I bring to Comic Cons with me, and then someone saw it, they said they liked it, they wanted it in color, so that's what this is. I've got a bunch of uncolored inked sketches, and this was inked with a brush, excuse me, Pentel pocket brush, one with black, one with a gray wash. And I use fountain pen ink. I look preloaded with my own fountain pen ink. Sorry I'm so quiet. A lot of times when I draw, I don't know, I'm just focusing in. I don't know why. Just part of that right brain, left brain thing. If you guys like to see these real-time drawing videos or coloring videos, let me know. I'll do more of them. I just, like I said, I usually listen to music or watch TV while I'm sketching, just to kind of have some background noise, so it's weird for me to draw with silence. But I mean, I'll do it if you guys feel like you're getting something out of it. If you're impatient like me, let me know and I'll just speed them up, because like I said, that's how I like to watch YouTube videos when I watch them. Makes it, what makes coloring a lot faster is if you kind of already know what colors you're going to use. Try to lay them out in front of you. I do that and then I don't put them away, and then I end up with this entire box scattered everywhere, and that's pretty much how I work most of the time. It is messy. Looks like I know where everything is, but it's just usually looks like a tornado whenever I'm drawing, because I break out whatever art supply I need and I just leave it, which is not a good thing to do, but I'm kind of a disaster when I create. All right, so we've done pretty much a lot of not everything else. Now it's just the dark black. Let's see, that's not dark enough. Usually I'll heavily ink when I'm doing my blacks, because you know the side of hers is black. Like this is heavily inked, well, kind of heavily inked, only because this is partly in the shadow. It's going to be further back. This I probably would have inked more, but I wanted to go with a little bit different style and kind of soften it up. So I'm going to use, instead of straight black, I'm going to use dark grays to ink this whole part. This is going to be a lot darker, this part's, because it's in the, like I said, it's in the background, so or it's going to be shadowed a little bit more. So we'll go in with the C8s. And if you use a dark enough gray with Copics, it'll simulate black well enough to where you get the, visually you get the point. It doesn't have to be black. At least, no, that's the way I feel about it. And if it doesn't seem like it's quite dark enough at the end, then just go back in with some blacks. Put it in where I think it needs it. And sometimes with my reds, I like to use a little bit of brown if I want to darken up an area, instead of just going on with a gray or warm gray or something like that. Browns, sometimes blues will give it a little bit more of a purple color, but browns work pretty well for darkening up an area. Alright, so let's see. The only thing left to do is sometimes if I was to ink it very heavily, use a lot more black than I did here, I probably would have used a little blue in that black. I don't know why, it just kind of simulates gunmetal. I just like the way it looks instead of it just being grays, but this looks pretty cool too. Those look like they need to be a little bit darker. One thing I noticed that I don't quite like is the eye line right here is real thin. Usually makes it more feminine if it's real thick. And then we can't forget the lips. Alright, I'm going to just throw a simple background on here. Usually I use grays and stuff, but wish that was a bigger circle. I don't have one of those. This is my old watercolor cup. Since it's not clear and I can't really see it, I usually do a pencil real quick just to see if it's centered. looks alright. And then I'll get it in there as close as possible. Erase that. Or lighten it up, I guess. If you've never used Copics, or even Prismacolors for that matter, if you're not familiar with using marker products too often, you gotta make sure that if you're gonna be using a light color and you're not gonna be blending on top of it or anything like that with darker parts to distract your eye, you've got to be very clean. The pencil has to be completely gone, because basically once you go over it with the Copics, it just locks it in. There's no erasing it. I know watercolors have I think I erased it too good. Watercolors have similar qualities, but you can still kind of erase it without erasing, without ripping the paper apart. With Copics, it's there. It's gone. It's gonna stay. So be careful with that. Make sure you erase really well. I probably should have used a lighter pencil. I didn't know what setting it was on. And then since we have we've already got reds, a lot of warm colors, the grays, I usually use warm grays and stuff for the backgrounds. So I'm going to do a bright color, kind of make it pop out. We use aqua. I'm just going to get it close to the figure, not touch it, because this marker seems a little wet, might bleed a little bit. I'm just looking to get it started. See, it already bled a little bit right there. I wish I had a thicker, original size marker, like, the square. See that? Is that right? Yeah, like the square. For this, I don't have those in all the colors, and they don't even. I mean, they make a lot more of the Copic sketch markers than they in a wider variety of colors than they do with the originals. Like I mentioned before about those duplicates, I'm willing to trade art supplies too, so you don't have to buy them from me. I'd like to make my money back on them, but if I'm making it back in some other way, you know, trading for colors I don't have, or, you know, whatever the case may be, watercolors, things like that, stuff that I use. Alright, so alright. Now what I'm doing is it's not quite thick enough. Putting it's probably too thick. Putting a thick black line around the outside. I don't worry about the hair too much, just because I like the thick to thin, but this black line will just kind of help it stand out. The shoulder part's okay, but there's certain parts I think I will switch the other marker. This 1.0 Copic multiliner, I always have trouble with it. It's thick, but it's just like the tip is so flat. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Let's see if it'll focus. Focus. It's dark. Kind of see it. It's real flat. So if you're not laying your hand, like maybe it's just this one. These are the cheap ones. These aren't the refillable, more expensive ones. I don't know. These are $2. The other ones are $15 plus $2 for a refill. So I don't know. You tell me what's a better deal. But these might be a crappier quality. I don't know. I've heard that the quality's crappy. Anyway, when you're doing a thick outline around the outside, if you're not perfectly flat, then it just lifts up, or it doesn't grab it. It's just weird. So I end up using a 0.8, or I switch to this guy. Don't need a black outline right there because it's already black. Same here. It's a pretty thick line right there. My dog's is tripping out right now. He hates it whenever I talk on the telephone. So whenever I get on my cell phone, he has to leave the room. And now he's like, what the fuck? You're talking to your phone, but you're not on your phone. He doesn't get it. Trips him out. A little thicker on this line. And then the hair tends to blend into the face, so well, it doesn't tend into, but it's looking like it to me, so I'm going to separate it a little bit. It's good to use line weights, different line weights for different parts, clothing and things like that. Things that are closer, things that are further. And so you have to be careful because I went in with that black Copic here, and that will bleed big time. Should have done all this before, but I'm an idiot. Sometimes I'll just look at something and be like, nope, I need to add this, or nope, I need to add that. And so when I do a commission, I'll usually just hang on to it for a little bit, unless they're in a hurry or I'm in a super hurry, but I'll just look at it just so I can kind of just be like, oh, it looks better with this, or probably do some highlights. You know, all this crap that I'm doing, this is just all nitpicky stuff. Just like to play around sometimes. It's pretty much done. Oh shit. Well, this is just a Sakura makes it, I think. Yeah, Sakura Jelly Roll white gel pen, medium point. I think there's another one that a lot of people like to use. I can't remember the name offhand. I have one somewhere. But I don't use it often because it just, if I think of it, I'll mention it. I want to say it's a Pentel, but I'm not sure. Let me get it. Uniball Signo. A lot of people like to use these, and of course when I try to do it, it probably won't do it, but see how it skips? Like right there. I'm pressing down normal pressure and it totally skips. It's just annoying to me. And it does lay down a nice thick line when you can get it to work, but it's just too inconsistent for me to rely on when, I mean, this one's not doing that great either. Usually try to find a different, this one might be dying, actually. Gel pens suck. They're great for portability, but they suck. Doesn't matter what you do. That's why I like to use the white deleter ink. I'm sorry, the paint. These parts where it bled a little bit, just kind of stiffen those out. Yeah, fuck it. Hey, look, I'm getting that uni ball to work. Oh, don't speak too soon. And what it is with these things, you have to have the right pressure and have the right angle. If you press too hard, it's gonna shit on you. And if you're going like dead on, like this, it's not gonna fucking work either. So, it just takes practice. Alright, now we're done. There's my dog. He's getting all pissed off because I'm talking to you guys too much. Alright, that's it. Hope you like it.